Finn versus History. As ever, I'm joined by Horatio Gould.
I'm like a bird.
Today, it's the history of Nelly Furtado.
It's the history of Nelly Furtado. Do you know the Kurdish version of that song?
No?
I'm like a Kurd. I only immigrate.
Very good.
I don't know where my home is.
They don't have any home.
They don't.
Saddam...
Free Kurdistan, I guess. I don't know enough about it.
Saddam was robust against the Kurds.
It was very robust.
Today's the history of flight.
Which I guess...
It's not the flight from Kurdistan to these shores.
But Nelly Furtado does go on the timeline at some point singing I'm Like a Bird, right?
Yes, that's where we're going to, I think.
Yeah, I don't think we should start with it, potentially.
No, I don't think...
Maybe...
Unless we start with Nelly Furtado and work backwards.
Or we do that dramatic thing that history podcasts do, where you start with a key moment. You say, how do we get here?
I've been thinking that. I've been listening to a lot of history podcasts where they start with sound design, and it's like some sort of audio of like a ship crashing, and then they start, and I was like, well, should we ever do that?
How did he get here?
Yeah.
We're doing that today with Nelly Furtado.
Okay, hang on, let's try it. A Puerto Rican woman is on a bonnet of a car. She's got big hoop earrings, and you can see a bit of her titty flesh.
Honking chebs.
She's got honking chebs, and she's squirreling away. I think does she wash a car in the video? I'm getting very confused.
I don't remember.
I think she's under a tree, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen the music video.
Is she Puerto Rican?
I don't know. You were very bold with that. Well, I don't think she's Puerto Rican.
A vaguely Hispanic woman, an undocumented migrant, is washing a car beneath a tree, singing, warbling
about being like a bird.
She'd like to fly one day. How did we get here?
What went wrong?
What went wrong? Welcome to the history of flight.
That was an amazing...
What a great intro that was.
So dramatic.
Yeah. Here she is. Look, I was right about the big gold hoop earrings.
Yeah, I was right about the honking chebs.
She's browner than I remember. That's fine.
That's fine.
Apparently.
That's
absolutely fine.
Apparently.
I've got no issue with how brown she is. There's no car, though. Oh, my God, she's in the air.
It's about flight.
I guess so.
I only fly away.
Did you do fun?
I don't know where my soul
I think
is.
this came out sort of 2003, I'd say.
Yeah, I think so, around there. It's very mid-noughties.
So I'd say this is just after our timeline ends.
Sure. Okay.
This is the long road to 9/11.
We had many long roads to 9/11.
All roads lead to 9/11. That's what we will ultimately prove with this historical podcast.
But I guess they never could have thought what would have happened when they were trying.
It's not all roads, is it? It's all flight paths. Lead to 9/11.
To the World Trade Center.
How did we get here?
Yeah.
That's the main starting point. This is the history of man's quest to fly.
Which is an amazing thing, but then I did find it quite boring.
No, it is quite boring. It's the history of man's attempt to fly, which really should be man's attempt to land.
Yes.
They never really had a problem jumping, as we'll find out. The real critical invention came with not dying on impact.
Yeah, the failed suicide attempt.
Yes, exactly.
That's what flying is.
This is the history of man's failed suicide attempts. So I guess we should start this. I mean, do you like flying?
No, I don't really like flying. I fly a lot. It's a necessary thing. I've got better at it.
Right.
I'm definitely don't have a fear of flying.
No.
I just think it's a big stinky fart box in the sky, so it's not...
Well, yes, currently we have a big stinky fart box that we fly in.
Yeah.
But as we'll see, only at some point did they decide not to contain everyone's farts.
Right. How are you at flying?
Fine.
Do you have a fear of flying or anything like that?
Not really.
No.
I've had some pretty dicky turbulence in my time.
Yeah.
On the plane, I mean. My wife's pretty scared.
Yeah?
She's pretty womanly about the whole thing.
Yeah. My sister has a fear of flying, but it flies more than anyone because she loves going on holiday as well.
Right. But I guess if you fly a lot, then you should be more scared of it because statistically, the more you fly, the more likely you are to die.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. But I think it's that irrational thing. And it is there's always like, people always say, well, you have more chance dying in a car than you do a plane.
Yeah,
but it doesn't feel the same.
You got more chance statistically more likely to die crossing the
road.
You go, well, yeah.
Fuck off.
I don't think 9/11 would have been as effective if two lines of people just walked into the World Trade Center.
But also, if you get run over crossing the road, it is your fault pretty much most of the time.
That's what I say. Yeah,
it's kind of never your fault if the plane crashes unless you're Mohammed Atta.
Unless you're flying it. So, man has all... I suppose we should start this story with, I guess, what, Icarus? Is that what...
Yeah, so this is the kind of myth about flying too close to the sun.
Yeah, and I suppose it's a metaphor for man's attempt to fly
Icarus, son of the inventor Daedalus.
Daedalus.
A lot of vowels there. Tragically died after flying too close to the sun on his wax wings. Yeah, he wanted to be like a bird, so he made wings using wax and feathers, and he was flying higher and higher. He's like, look, I can fly, Daddy, I can fly. And then he got so close to the sun, I'm going to go right to the sun. And then the wax melted and all the feathers fall, and he fell to his death.
Yeah, and many people took this to mean different things.
Right.
You know, sort of us Protestants, we said, well, okay,
Don't use wax.
Don't use wax. Let's still try and fly. The Greeks went, don't do anything. Don't just stay at home, I reckon. Knuckle down, have some yogurt, and wait till things blow over.
Right, so Protestants saw that as like, well, that's trial and error.
Yeah.
That's the first attempt.
Let's
get back out there.
Get back out there. Get some new wings on. Yeah, stronger feathers, thicker wax.
Maybe avoid the sun.
Don't try and fly to the sun. The Greeks went, oh, no, it's too hot. No, don't go anywhere.
It is a metaphor for never get out of the chair.
Getting out of the chair, only bad things happen when you get out of the chair.
When you fly too close
to the Greeks.
Outside the house.
Greeks, flying too close to the sun just means getting up from a chair. Don't get up from chair.
Head rush. You'll fall back down.
It's hot up there. Bad things happen when you leave shit plastic chair. So the Greeks kind of went, well, let's sit this one out.
Yeah.
But my one of the well-produced podcasts I listened to started this story with a Chinese guy whose name I don't remember.
Give it a go.
Emperor fucking, I don't know, number 78. Google a Chinese takeaway menu, Charlie, and see what 78 is, and we'll call him that.
Yeah.
I remember once listening to 5 Live, and you know Alan Green, the Northern Irish commentator, he once was doing the lineups, and I think it was Manchester City.
Yeah.
Sun Ji Hai, number 33, that'll be chicken chai mein. And then he immediately went, oh, don't ring in, I didn't mean that. Like, just caught himself. This is like 20 years ago, obviously. BBC wouldn't be, he'd be fired now if that happened.
That's good gear, man.
That's good stuff.
That's fucking
it was
good
so
gear.
Quick as well.
Yeah, come on.
Obviously, what's number 70?
It's king prawns with fresh mushrooms.
Right. There's a Chinese emperor called King's Prawn with fresh mushrooms. What Chinese takeaway is this, Charlie?
This is a Sunrise Chinese takeaway in...
Where is it?
Fulham.
5 reviews.
5 reviews, 4 stars.
So bad again.
That's the other recent review. So bad again. That's a really funny review to give a takeaway. I keep trying, but it's so bad again. Okay. So, Emperor King Prawns with fresh mushrooms this is 500 BC.
Right.
In I don't know where. But he decides that he wants to see people. He looks at the birds. Man has always looked at the birds.
Yeah.
This is how we should have started.
Yes.
Man, forever, since time immemorial, man has looked at birds and wondered, I wonder if you could fuck that. But man has gone, wow, if only we could fly. He thinks this, and he thinks, well, I've got loads of prisoners, so I reckon rather than executing them, I'm going to optimize my prisoners and see if I can crack flying. So he puts them up to the top of a tower and straps
So he'd been
them.
listening to a self-help podcast about optimizing your prisoners.
Yeah, so have you got prisoners?
Was Diary of Emperor.
Yeah.
Optimize your prisoners, you've got to streamline your life,
What are you doing with you're just killing them. Think about what you could be trying to experiment with your prisoners.
And there'd be all these stats about, 78% of emperors waste their prisoners by just killing them.
Think of all that potential for discovery you're leaving there. So he gets them up to the top of the a tower, and then I think maybe ties some wings to them, maybe, and just chucks them off.
Right.
And they all die.
All of them.
Yeah, of course. I mean, maybe one of them glides for a bit.
Yeah.
I think early attempts at flying, people glide for a bit before dying.
Yeah. I guess it's easy with hindsight to think it's silly, but if you have no idea how to do it.
Well, that's what's so amazing about this topic, is that it's so funny for so long. Because people are really trying for ages. And they're trying in such a mad way.
You shouldn't be able to fly.
No.
That is a bit too...
Yeah.
You've gone too far there, I feel like. That shouldn't be within our wheelhouse.
In 1000 AD, Abbas ibn Firnas from Andalusia, which is in Spain,
so
it's Muslim Spain. Either way, they're napping. He attempted a glided flight with wings made of silk and eagle feathers.
Well, why are you getting sexy with it, boy? You need to learn to fly.
She's wearing little silk negligee and some feathers.
He's wearing a kimono and go,
and he reportedly glides for a short distance before crash landing.
Do you know if he died or not?
He didn't die. His initial attempt resulted in injuries and a crash landing. He lived for another 12 years. He's widely credited as the first person to attempt flight. although his attempts were not successful in the modern sense of aviation.
As in
he didn't fly.
Can we see? He did a second attempt. He constructed a hang glider. That's pretty good. And sets a flight from a tower in the mountains near Cordoba. He managed to glide for a short time before he crashed upon landing and was injured. So the long history of Muslims flying, flying and crashing.
Yes, Muslims famously love crashing. They love crashing cars. They love crashing planes.
Yeah.
This is the first. Would you say this is the first 9/11? This is where we start the story.
I mean, we've said a lot of things on the first 9/11. It's hard. I would say that maybe the 9/11 hijackers in the cave where they're planning it, they could have had pictures of him up there.
Yeah, totally.
He's sort of like
Abbas ibn Firnas.
Yeah. He's sort of like the first one to ever do it. He's got a statue. He's got a statue. That's pretty. Yeah, you've got to be pretty fucking nuts to be the first person to try that.
Crazy. But that's effectively hang gliding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what we're building up to, we should say, is that man officially takes off there's a weird phrase, isn't it? It's like controlled, powered flight.
It's more heavier than air.
Well, there's that stuff. Yeah, there's controlled.
So this is not my autism at all. I don't have any of these registers in my autism.
What?
Machines, flight, stuff like that.
No.
I'm not going around your house knocking, asking what wood that's made of.
No,
Like,
you're not an engineering autism.
No, I just
You're
don't have
mystic
that in my-
autism. Your religion. Your potion autism. That's what you are. So,
do you have any sort of mechanical autism in you?
No, I'm not an
You're
engineering
not?
man.
No, I'm sure you could get into it, but it's not.
I guess I have food autism.
Right.
Just fat. Is that what that is?
This is what food, fortism,
Fat
fatism.
autism. Fatism. So, right, he's the first cunt to ever do it.
Right.
And he crashes, obviously. I mean, until 1903, really, this is the history of crashing.
Mm-hmm.
The history of crashing is still alive and well.
Yeah.
But we need to get to the Renaissance. Now, the Renaissance is when people start to take this slightly more seriously.
Right.
Leonardo da Vinci,
Yeah.
at the end of the 15th century,
Yeah.
starts designing various flying machines. He's obviously got parachute and gliders, but he developed something called an ornithopter,
Yeah.
which is a sort of flapping machine. This is the funny thing is that
But he
initially...
didn't make this, right? He just drew it.
Just drew it.
Yeah.
But initially...
We'll do that, lad.
Initially, people genuinely think that in order to fly, you have to look like a bird. That's
Yeah.
what's quite funny.
Yeah.
So initial attempts are people are covering themselves in feathers
Yeah.
and jumping as if just looking like an owl is going to do it.
But planes now, they do sort of look like birds, so they are partially right. You just got to trial and error what's the key part of the
That's
bird
what I mean.
that's making you fly.
It's funny that they thought,
Is
well...
it the beak?
Yeah.
Do you have to have a yellow beak? Is it the
so
colour?
I put that on and goes, right, no, it's not that. It's not that. So an ornithopter is a flapping wind machine.
Yeah.
Then you've got the aerial screw, which I guess is how...
Proto-helicopter.
Yeah, so he basically, in the way that water, you can screw, like, you can go down in water like a plug, he invents that for the air. So he sort of invents a helicopter, basically.
But is it inventing if it's a doodle? Because did he build these?
I don't know, maybe he built a little one.
Well, so do you stand in the middle section and then...
You're just running
You're
around.
running around, and it, like, takes off like that, I think.
I guess that would be good if you were trying to escape from somewhere.
You'd get very dizzy, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You're screwing into the air.
Screwing, yeah, and then I think you'd probably have a bit of a you'd hook to the left probably. Another Italian, a Dominican friar called Giovanni Battista Dante, reportedly attempted flight from a tower in Perugia with wings. He flew briefly but crashed, survived with injuries. All right?
I mean, this is kind of the story, is that people are jumping with looking like a bird in a different way, and they're crashing and dying. 1648, Esarfan Ahmed Stelabi.
Nice.
Charlie, can you Google a Turkish menu? He allegedly... Number 11 on a Turkish menu.
Lamb liver.
Right. So our friend Lamb Liver in Istanbul, he allegedly...
So he's standing on trial. We don't want to...
it's still a live case.
Yeah.
We don't want to...
ruin court proceedings.
Allegedly, Lamb Liver flies across the Bosphorus using artificial wings. But that's possibly
Lightly
bollocks. Lightly embellished.
A lot of bollocks going on there.
Yeah. So that's kind of man's sort of vague attempts in the Renaissance.
Yeah.
People are conceiving machines, but again, they're basically thinking, if I look like a bird, I'll be able to fly. Then we need to get into these French cunts.
Right.
A lot of this happens in France.
Right.
which is a
Go on.
shame, I think.
It's a shame, yeah.
Yeah. But again, it's quite a sort of flighty,
Fruity.
poetic, fruity thing to do, isn't it? It's quite a gay
Come
thing.
back here and stay on the
Stay
fucking...
on land, please. No. It's quite a gay thing to do.
It's very gay
Yeah.
to believe that you could fly with the...
Ooh, and just
I'm in the
fly.
clouds.
Oh, get back down here
here.
now. Now.
To be honest, the sky is gay.
The sky is gay. Land is straight.
And underground straight as hell.
Underground as straight as it gets. The sea's gay. Sea's gay. Famously.
Sea's gay, sky's gay, but underground is straight.
Yeah.
It's a bunker. A bunker's straight as hell.
Yeah, and then what's...
Gays don't really have bunkers in the same way.
Oh, they do. Oh, they do.
Go on.
Not a bunker I'd like to go in, but they have dungeons, don't they?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess they got sex dungeons. But I guess Fritzl was straight, wasn't he?
The straightest man who's ever lived.
Can't get straight than Fritzl.
Can't get straighter than Fritzl.
And he was like, "Sky's too gay for me. I'm going down."
Do you want to go and meet some...
We'll do a Patreon episode on Joseph Fritzl, I
We'll do
reckon.
a whole series on Joseph Fritzl. We'll do 10 episodes on Fritzl. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's as straight as ever is to go, do you want to go dating? No, I'd like to just... I don't want to meet any more people.
Yep.
I'm going to just stick to my own.
Well, it's like having an allotment, isn't it?
I've got an allotment. What are you saying?
Well, just saying it's you prefer your rosemary homegrown.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's farm to table.
Yeah, it is. Nose to tail. My nose, my tail. So there's these two French cunts, the Montgolfier brothers, Joseph Michel,
They're already annoying.
and Jacques Etienne. Listen, if you've got double-barreled first names, you're cunts. Right, we've got some fruity names. We're posh blokes, whatever. But if you've got double-barreled first names,
out the gate,
get in the bin.
Yeah.
They're being bullied relentlessly at school. They're French inventors, and they are the first people, I guess, to launch successful manned flight.
Right.
It's manned, of course, because the sky is gay.
Yeah.
And so you've got, they're born in the 1740s.
Yeah.
Joseph Michel Montgolfier.
It's a dreamer.
And they work in they run paper mills, right? They're fabric paper merchants.
And they got a bit of a double act, similar to the Wright brothers, actually. They both complement each other in different ways.
Well, I guess it's the story of flight is these two gay brothers, two sets of gay brothers, and the reason they want to get in the air is that they want to suck each other off. But it's a crime on land. But there's no laws in the sky.
They haven't worked that out. It's medieval. It's a loophole.
It's a medieval loophole in the way that you can graze your sheep on your front garden. Yes, the sky is gay. So these two gay brothers want to suck each other off in the sky. Mm-hmm. So they go, how do we get off land and get up there? Mm-hmm. So because they work in paper mills, at some point...
So it's like Dunder Mifflin.
Yeah.
US office, right?
Yeah, Burnham Hogg. The story goes that Joseph Michel noticed some clothes rising above a fire when drying, and he becomes convinced that smoke can lift objects.
Right.
Now, obviously, we now know that it's hot air, not smoke.
Yeah.
But they call it Montgolfier gas.
Right.
And what they do is in 1783...
Well, they call smoke Montgolfier gas.
Yeah, I guess so.
Right.
And they build this balloon from sackcloth and paper, and they tie it together with buttons and string.
And in French fashion, actually, they thought the stinkier, the better. So they thought the stinkier the smoke, the more pungent it was.
Really?
They were trying to make the smoke because they thought it was all about the smoke. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to make the smoke as thick and pungent as possible. So they're chucking hair on there, they're chucking wool.
Jeez.
It's like, well, it's definitely, it must be how stinky it is.
Yeah.
I think we have to make this stinky more stinky, please.
So the balloon rises 6,000 feet and flies 2 kilometers, and it astonishes the villagers.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
But then the funny thing is that so King Louis the 16th, the King of France, he hears about these gay boys who've been sending balloons into the air, and he says, "Come over here and do that in front of me."
Yeah. He says, "I'm the King of France. I am the gay warlord of the world.
I'll decide if this is gay or not.
I need to start taxing any gayness that happens in my land."
Yes.
Similar to sort of Gaddafi with oil. If something's going on, I need a big chunk of this. If you guys are sucking each other off, I need a piece of that. So at the Palace of Versailles, in front of the royal court, September, such a crucial month for flight. Yeah.
September the 19th, 1783. Yeah. This is the first ever, what would you say, living thing flight.
Okay.
Because even though, I would say...
so they were not in, when they sent the balloon up, they weren't in it?
That's just a balloon. They weren't in it. No, we're getting there.
Fine.
At Versailles, the balloon carries a duck, a rooster, and a sheep.
Sounds like a riddle.
And
or like
it's
a problem.
like an Aesop's fable. Now, the funny thing is, I heard that the reason they put a duck in there is that they wanted to put something that knows how to fly in to see what happened.
Right.
Because you got to bear in mind is that they don't want to put a person in it, even though to my head, I'd rather put a French person in than a sheep.
Sure.
Because I think they're more expendable.
Right.
Because if it comes to the crunch, like, you know, a sheep will follow what you're doing. A French person will surrender. So at least you've got more chance of having a flock of sheep. So they wanted to put a rooster in to see what the fuck happened to something that couldn't fly.
Yeah.
And they wanted to put a sheep in to most mimic a human's response.
Right.
Because they genuinely didn't know, like, if you went in the sky, would your head explode?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And to be fair,
Sometimes it does. So they put a duck, a rooster, and a sheep in. The flight lasts for 8 minutes and lands safely. Everyone survives, and then, although apparently the rooster was kicked by the sheep, and then they all get the sheep kicked off. He was going Magaluf. He'd had a few, I think they all then get like put into.
are they traumatized? Like, I wonder what they'd be like. Do they have any idea what's going on? They have no idea the first animals to fly.
Bear in mind, they live in France. These animals, so they're like, you know, they're going to get bummed or gutted for food.
Yeah.
So I think they get accepted into like the Louis has like a menagerie or a zoo.
Into the cabinet.
He's in the cabinet, yeah. What's the difference between a menagerie and a zoo, Charlie? Can you find out? A menagerie is a collection of captive animals kept for display by aristocrats or royals. It's the precursor to a zoo. Oh, there you go.
Right, okay. It's more of a collection than like an enclosure, I guess.
So then, because the duck and the chicken and the sheep arrived safely, then 2 months later, the boys decide they're going to get in there.
Yeah.
And the first ever manned flight occurs November the 21st, 1783, where they fly over Paris for 25 minutes, reaching 3,000 feet. Jean-Francois Pilatre de Rosier, a physics teacher, Francois Laurent.
But the brothers aren't getting in there.
No, they're sucking each other off
while
the balloon's in the air.
Yeah.
This is the first recorded free flight by humans, and it's the French.
Yeah. It's a shame.
Devastating. And it's essentially, it's a big...
Have you ever been in a hot air balloon?
Sorry?
Have you ever been in a hot air balloon?
No.
I've done it once.
Really?
And I don't know why it's terrifying.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not that scared of heights or anything. I was like, you know, it's a good experience. It felt a bit weird going off the ground, and it never stopped feeling weird. The whole time I felt I'm in a fucking balloon in the sky.
It's the wicker thing for me.
Yeah. It just can't.
I mean, a
I was
basket.
like, I bet when you're up there, it won't feel like you're in a balloon in the sky. Like in a basket in the sky. It always feels like you're in a basket.
And also, is that just really hot next to your head?
It's
flame?
quite a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that bit was fine. It was more, I was just holding on, pretending I was all right with it. And there's loads of people in there. There was like 30 people in there.
30 people in a basket.
It's fucking awful.
No. Absolutely not.
I guess the one benefit of hot air balloon, which is quite unique, is that you could be still in the air. Because whenever you're flying, there's always movement and stuff.
Yeah.
But with this kind of, you got like a small swing to it.
You could also just climb to the top of a building.
I guess so.
And be still in the air. You could have a shit at the top of the shard.
That's true.
This does start a massive, it's like a viral sensation.
Right.
Suddenly everyone's obsessed
Gangnam
with...
style.
Yeah. Everyone's obsessed with balloons.
Yeah.
So they're doing writing poems about it. They've got balloon-themed fucking crockery, furniture. It's like the height of aristocratic indulgence. It's sort of a symbol of the Enlightenment. Man has conquered the sky, although has he really?
It's hot, stinky gas into a balloon.
Hot, stinky gas in a balloon flying.
Obviously, the French came up with it.
Now we're getting to the fun bit. The Wright brothers, at the end of the 19th century, they start knocking about. It's this bit just before where things get really quite funny.
Right.
Because now people know that it's possible to fly.
Your head's not going to explode.
Your head's not going to explode. Then people start doing some fucking mad stuff. And although this is just after the Wright brothers, we need to deal with this. We should do it now. This is one of the greatest things that's ever happened. This is Franz Reichelt's Eiffel Tower leap in 1912.
I think for me, whatever my sense of humour is or whatever I find funny, I think this is kind of crystallises what I think is the funniest thing in the world.
Yeah.
I think it's the attempt often by men to achieve great things and failing so much worse than you could ever imagine.
Also quicker than you could ever imagine.
It's like it's perfect comedy for me.
Yeah.
You could not have higher aspirations to be a human flying, and you could not fuck it more.
So Franz Reichelt is Austrian. That makes it better for me.
Right.
Because Austria is a pretty funny place. In that, like, if your great exports are Hitler, Fritzl, Schwarzenegger, and this cunt.
Schnitzel.
Hitler, Fritzl, Schnitzel, and Schwarzenegger.
Fritzl, Schnitzel.
Fritzl, Schnitzel, Schwarzenegger, and Hitler. That's like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, but Austrian. Fritzl, Schnitzel, Hitler, and Schwarzenegger. So Franz Reichelt's an Austrian tailor who lives in Paris. And, I guess at this point, he's a tailor. It's 1912, which is when the Titanic goes down. So this is in February he does this, but a couple of months, as a year, this is really when the
Wright brothers have already done the first flight.
Yeah, but ships are already around. I mean, this is where everything gets taken too far in this year, isn't it? This is like 1912 must be like 2016 for us. Do you remember when at the time, you're like, bloody hell, this year's crazy, isn't it? Bowie's dead, Brexit, Prince. Yeah. Wow. This is like the Titanic. Yeah. That cunt jumped off the Eiffel Tower. It's crazy. So he's a tailor. And
that's what makes you laugh as well, is if the other people are like physics teachers or engineers.
A bicycle.
All he knows about is fabrics and like
suits.
Tailoring. Yeah.
Basically his hypothesis is if I get a really baggy suit and jump off the Eiffel Tower, I will fly.
What makes it even funnier is normally this would just be a anecdotal story that you'd think you wouldn't quite believe. You'd think there was some myth going into it. But there's such excellent footage.
Yep, it's on TikTok.
Because also, cinema's just been invented, only 10 years earlier.
He invents this wearable parachute suit that sort of looks like, if you're listening, he looks like a woman in a burqa who's lost a lot of weight quickly. He's sort of wearing a big tent almost. Yeah. And it's like a bat wings.
Yeah, it's got two bits above his head, he's
got like a frame that's obviously, as we'll probably find out, is too heavy. Yeah. And he claims that it would let men float gently to the ground. Right. So
this is off the bottom bit of the Eiffel Tower.
The first platform, which is about 60 metres tall. Yeah. And I must stress, he has been petitioning Parisian police to let him jump from the Eiffel Tower for months. So he has claimed that he's done some successful test flights off his fourth story apartment block. And he has been he's like a nuisance to the council. Yeah. He's like, please let me jump off the Eiffel Tower. It's going to be sick. And they're like, no, it's not going to work. He's like, no, please. So then on the morning of February the 4th, 1912, Franz Reichelt scales the Eiffel Tower. I mean, we should just get the video up. If you're listening, switch the video. Yeah, so the Eiffel Tower about 30 years old. And he just fucking goes for it.
He goes for it, but I love it. He doesn't make it even far enough out. It's how little. It's such a funny jump. It's perfect.
Right, and he's off. He's gone. And just immediately.
Go again. I can't not.
So play it again. Let's watch it again. So
it's perfect.
He's here looking like...
Right, here we go.
A very fat member of the Ku Klux Klan.
It's the fact that he doesn't even get far out. It goes straight down.
At what point do you think he realises he fucked it?
Immediately. Because he barely clears the railing.
Yeah.
He seems to jump off the railing straight down.
Yeah, no, he slips. He doesn't even really...
slip because he didn't get...
And at no point
he was definitely going to die, but there are different ways he could have. There could have been more grace.
Do you reckon as he jumps, he goes, I could have got a rope actually. I could have. Why don't I just attach a rope to myself just to make sure I didn't die? So he just kind of immediately falls, and then so I think his head he lands on his head, doesn't he? I think he lands on his head. The impact left a hole in the cement.
Cement.
Yeah, because it's cement. Fuck. His right leg and...
He fell on the cement. He's just jumping onto cement.
His right leg and arm were crushed. His skull and spine were broken. And he was bleeding from his mouth, nose and ears. And there's a whole crowd of spectators. And it's all on film, which we're playing now. Yeah, I mean, it's one of the great attempts.
It really is. Fair play. He's a hero of mine. The difference between dreams and reality, I love.
Yeah.
There's a lot of comedy there.
Don't follow your dreams.
That's why I've got
Don't follow your dreams.
Don't reach for the sky.
Don't reach for the sun.
Because
That's
you'll
it. That's
fucking
the
die.
photo there. Look at that. Incredible photo. I mean, the falling man that will... It's sort of the first falling man
I guess
image.
so, but it's slightly different circumstances.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's his moving the falling man.
Yeah, because he had every option was available to him. The reason the falling man from 9/11 is such a moving image is that you go, this man had no choice but to make
burning
this
building
mad
or
thing.
jumping out. You're dying either way.
Do I want to burn to death or do I want to die instantly? I'm going to die instantly.
It could be seen as an allegory for
This
so
guy's
many
like,
things.
I've got a loving family, I've got kids, I've got a successful tailoring business. Look what I can do. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck it. Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I mean, it must have been one of the loudest Sacre Blues ever heard.
What are the crowd doing as well? Because at what point are they waiting for like an uplift?
Is there a slight laugh? I think it's...
It's so quick. It's like 2 seconds. Right, well, that's that done.
Because I think you're gathered around, you're seeing him like that, and you think, if he's petitioned for it, he must know something that we don't. You are expecting him to fly a bit.
Yeah.
Or to glide down, or at least go down slowly.
Yeah.
I think just how quickly it happened, there will be 3 seconds of silence. Right.
Right. Well, that doesn't work, does it? Did you find out what happened to his tailoring business? Did he sell many suits after this? That's what I want to know. It's essentially, the modern day equivalent is like Freddie Flintoff has got a big Giacomo deal.
Yeah.
And he's like, this suit's so big I can fly. Ceased to operate.
Right.
Because it was sort of a
Because he's
one-man
dead.
band. Franz Reichelt's Eiffel Tower leap is sort of probably the best aviation. It's the first aviation disaster caught on film. So in the 1800s, various inventors thought they were trying to combine boats with wings. So some put wings onto canoes. One plan includes 800 geese tied to a flying machine. So like a husky sledge, but with geese.
I mean, there's a logic there.
Yeah,
I can see that. 800 of them as well.
Although that was in 1912, really, the stars of the story, if we can call them that, they're very boring.
I mean, I tried to listen to a lot of podcasts about them and I kept
Incredibly
losing interest.
Dull. Listeners...
It's amazing to invent flying and be this dull.
This dull. It's like, you know how the Cruyff turn?
Yeah.
Imagine if that was the James Milner turn. And you were like, what an amazing skill that the most boring man ever has invented. And he never does it on the field. So they're very boring, these two brothers. Again, they're Protestants, so they think, can we please fly in a way that's not horrendously gay in a balloon wafting across
What's
Paris?
the least gay way to fly? Yeah. Go on.
But do you want your playing guys to be fun? Like, isn't it good that they're boring?
That's a very good point.
Would you rather...
Maybe the mistake in the history of flying is we've got these fruity French tailors jumping off the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah. Armpit flying.
Yeah, they're trying to fly with armpits.
This is your captain speaking. Whoa!
I guess aviation needs to be dull. It's like astronauts. Whenever they talk about the extraordinary things they've done.
Tim Peake.
Incredibly
boring
dull.
Cunt
They have
one.
to be.
Yeah, of course. I don't, when a pilot's speaking, I don't want, there's a very narrow band of like the type of man, and it is a man, I want him to be. Do you know what I mean? I want him to be British, middle class, with a public school confidence,
right?
Ideally privately educated.
Yeah.
I don't want any sass. I don't want any hint of an accent.
Yeah.
I don't want any of this Blairite RP, like regional bollocks that you get on the news now.
Right.
I want cut glass, Victorian, privately educated man called Sebastian.
And do you know what's interesting is I think even the wokest people secretly agree. I think they don't fuck around with flying.
Imagine.
Fair enough. Who's in the new Channel 4 sitcom? You can write an article about that.
Yeah.
But they will keep their mouth shut with the pilot.
Imagine you sit down, right? You buckle in, and ladies and gentlemen, announcement from the flight deck. Ding ding. Why are you gay? You think, fuck. We've got a West African pilot. Yeah. It's the same thing with goalkeepers.
Right.
Goalkeepers, if they're African and they're wearing trousers, you think, what's going on here? They don't command the same level of confidence. You want pilots and goalkeepers to be from a very specific corner of society.
Northern Europe.
Because, yes, you want Northern European pilots and goalkeepers.
Milk-fed.
Yep, breastfed Germans. German, Dutch. But get a map up, Charlie. Let's go through where I feel confidence in a pilot from. But it's pretty much Northern Europe.
Yeah.
Saxon. I want a Saxon pilot. I don't want a working class Saxon.
Yeah.
You don't want to come here and, all right, it's your captain speaking. Let's fucking
You're
go
right,
for
let's
it.
go for it.
Let's have a crack at this, shall we?
It's interesting.
Don't want that.
But I just don't think there's going to be a huge push for much diversity in it because everyone's so fucking terrified of flying. You don't want to fuck around with it.
I want to feel safe.
Yeah.
I want to feel like the man is privileged. I want to feel like he's lucky. Because I want luck on a plane.
Yeah, he hasn't gone through lots of stuff.
No, I don't want him to have gone through anything.
Because otherwise you go through a mountain.
I want this to be another part of his charmed life.
Who was the person who just nosedived the plane into a mountain?
He was German, to be fair. He was German, but he was depressed.
Do you
Well,
think
fucking hilarious.
that's like the ultimate? That's like the most. You know how some people say suicide is selfish.
Yeah.
That's surely the winner of.
That's one of the most selfish suicides.
That's
yeah.
pretty
That's obscene.
selfish. Yeah, because it's like a lot of people are like, don't jump in front of a train, you're going to ruin someone's commute.
Yeah.
And maybe he took a look at them and he assumed they all wanted to die as well.
Because at least the hijackers, they've given us 9/11.
Yes.
They've given us that.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say, are the hijackers, I guess they're not selfish. Are the hijackers selfish? It's not really the same thing.
Not from my perspective. I think they're
generous.
wonderfully selfless, generous beings who've given us one of the greatest things that's ever happened.
It is quite funny saying, I'm going to kill myself and you're coming with me.
Yeah, that is funny. It is funny.
It's also funny, we don't know what the afterlife is like.
Because the equivalent...
It is funny that they're all in purgatory together. They all die. There's like a waiting room before you get to heaven or hell. And they have to sit there for a couple of hours. And he's just sat there and they're all like,
Why have you done this? He's like, yeah, I just rushed blood to the head, sorry. But the equivalent is being on a tube platform and just like sweeping everyone under the train with you.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just running and pushing everyone before.
And then you jump as well. But then the amount of bodies would stop the train before it gets to you. And then you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. It stops and you survive.
Yeah.
That's a
nightmare. Because then it's just mass murder, which isn't cool.
It's not cool.
Anyway, the Wright brothers are very boring, but crucially, as Charlie said, actually, very, very good suggestion from you, Charlie.
Thank you.
You want your pirates to be pirates. You want your you don't want that to go on the tannoy.
You don't want pirates to be flying it.
No.
Yeah.
Pilots, you want them to be boring. So they're in Ohio. Blah blah blah. They like flying. They've got a very boring family life.
Yeah.
Now they build in 1903 in Kitty Hawk.
Yes, that keeps coming up.
Kitty
Ohio?
Hawk, Ohio, which is like a sandy. No, is it North Carolina?
North Carolina.
I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
It's somewhere on the West Coast. I mean, the East Coast.
So how the flight podcasts I listened to are opened up with the flight from Kitty Hawk and then worked
Just
back.
like we've opened up with Nelly Furtado, the undocumented migrant with her big hoop earrings.
Yeah.
Desperately trying to record a song to escape a life of prostitution, I imagine.
Yes.
Or being a domestic maid.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, is she made in Manhattan, Nelly Furtado?
No, that is Jennifer Hudson. No, Jennifer Lopez.
I think they're both in it.
I think you might have just seen Jennifer Lopez in two different shots, potentially. I would highly recommend Jennifer Lopez's self-funded Amazon film, which is like a visual. I think she was trying to make like her Lemonade. It's completely ridiculous. It's one of those self-indulgent things. This Is Me. Right. It is hilarious. She is a factory worker at the Heart Factory.
Right.
So like an emotional thing.
The heart?
Yeah, like they love heart. So it's like, so they're all dancing in a factory and then the hearts break down. So it's like, I think the factory stops producing love. And so she has to go on like some sort of strike.
Right.
And there's also, there she is in the factory. It's all her money. No one wanted to fund it.
Yes.
She put 100 million into it.
Wow.
And
100 million.
Something crazy like that. And then she also, which is great, made a documentary about the making of it, as if it was going to be really well received. And it's just Ben Affleck the whole time, just looking absolutely fucking miserable. It's also very funny in this film, even though she's 50, with her scenes talking to her friends, because it's in between the songs, her friends are all in their early 20s and all perfectly racially diverse.
Yep, so like a university prospectus.
Yeah, literally. It's really fun. Just her hanging out with these 23-year-olds.
Famously, that's what all universities are like. My first week at Bristol, I met a Chinese guy, I met a disabled woman, I met a black guy, and we all hung out on a hill for the first 3 weeks, just chatting about our shared experiences and what bonded us. That's what we did.
All holding a folder and smiling.
Yeah, just smiling. Just me and Abdul and Sandra in a wheelchair. I've got no idea what he was called, but he looked like a Abdul. Sandra in a wheelchair, and then we all just sort of ran down the hill. We didn't all run. Sandra pushed Sandra down. Anyway, listen, the Wright brothers are very boring. Yeah. Can you tell we're bored by them? They blah blah blah. They file a patent. They get off the ground.
They filed a patent.
No, fuck that. They
in
just get
1904.
In 1903, these two brothers, they flip a coin to see who's going to go in the plane that they built. They're bicycle nonces. They're cycling twats.
Which is what's interesting is the bicycle's a pretty new invention. Which is quite weird to think about the fact that the bicycle was quite swiftly followed by the plane.
That's how boring they are, is that they're into cycling. So that guy is into cycling.
The beginning of indeed cycling.
Yeah, the beginning of it.
Been around for like 20 years.
So this is before all the fucking Jeremy Vine with his GoPro. Are you crazy? That guy.
Have you seen Cycling Mikey?
No. What's he?
He's like this African guy. He goes around with a GoPro on his head, trying to catch people. It's not in a funny way. It's done with a social justice way, trying to catch people who are on their phones during traffic. Right?
Wow.
He's in full lycra. He stops them, and he got Guy Ritchie. Like a 50 grand fine. And then people know who he is, and they try and run him over and stuff. He is one of the biggest, most colossal cunts. So I don't really know what's going on in his head when he does this sort of stuff, though. What do you think's going on, Charlie?
It'd be funny for him to catch you, and you're watching his videos while you're driving.
I think his dad died in a car crash. That's his justification, or something like that.
Right.
Like he's got some.
He's a true villain.
Ooh.
Anyway, so this guy invented flying.
Right. So the Wright brothers, they get off the ground in 1903. They fly over a beach. The first Wright flyer travels 120 feet in 12 seconds. Though monumental, the wider world barely noticed. Yeah, because you've flown about, what's that, half a mile? I don't know, 120 feet. The Wright brothers get off the ground in 1903, and the reason they do this is that they've the first cunts to not think, oh, we need to look like a bird.
Right.
They actually go, we need to think like a bird.
Right.
We need to. They notice how the bird controls their movements in the air by pointing their wings down. So they invent, I think, flaps. Is it? I don't know or care. Anyway, they're
certainly
this.
not nowhere near pussy flaps. These guys.
Yeah, for a set of brothers who have near a set of pussy flaps, they invent actual flying flaps.
Which they go against each other.
They go, what the fuck are they? Yeah. People who are too lost in pussy flaps would never have invented flying flaps. That's why I would never have invented a plane.
Yes, that's why I didn't invent flight.
Because I was too busy smashing. Face full of flaps, man. Anyway, these flap dodgers, they that's quite a good name for quite a good slur for a virgin, if I can flap dodger. These flap dodgers, they build a plane and whatever. It's very exciting. They get off the ground and then they start doing traveling like circus shows. Right. So for the next 10 years, the Wright brothers are they go to France, they go to Le Mans, and they're like, oh, look at this amazing flying machine, and they wow the world, and because they can do tricks. He does like loop-de-loops and stuff.
Yeah, so like the Harlem Globetrotters.
Orville and Wilbur.
Yeah,
they're doing these mad flights, and then immediately they sign contracts with the British, the French, and the American military.
I think what's interesting about these guys is though they invent flight, they lack any vision about what it means as an invention.
Yeah.
That's what's kind of interesting about these guys is they cannot see. They can have enough vision to get a fucking plane in the sky.
Yeah.
But they do not have enough vision to think that anyone would want to use it past fucking doing loop-de-loops.
Yeah. Whee!
They cannot, for the life of them, envision what it could be possibly used for.
So what is quite funny about this is that the plane has been invented, the biplane, the Wright Flyer 2, 3. It's based off bicycles. That's why they've kind of got the...
So is the biplane a Wright invention?
I think so.
Right.
But at the same time, there's a whole other thing, a whole other aviation technology being developed. The airship, the Zeppelin.
Right.
And the big competing technology to the plane is the airship.
And people don't realise, looking back, you could see the plane as the obvious choice, but at this time, people don't know if it's going to be... People like hot air balloons might be better, you know.
At this point, the airship and the plane are neck and neck. Yeah. It's like BlackBerry and iPhone. Who's going to win out?
Yes.
What I will say is that in the story of the airship, we meet our old friend, the Führer. And in our next episode, we will discuss the Führer's involvement in the history of flight.
Oh, brilliant.
And a link between Hitler and 9/11.
That's all we can ask for.
I found one. I found a direct link between the two. That's in our next episode. Now, that's already on our Patreon, where for £3 a month, you can become a truther.
Get all the episodes ad-free immediately.
And you get a bonus episode every Friday. And if you subscribe via the website rather than the app, it is £3, and you can dodge the Apple £1.50 surcharge, which we don't see. So don't pay that.
Pussy flap dodgers.
Fucking flap dodgers, a lot of them. Either way, we'll see you next time for our continuation of man's story in the skies. The Hindenburg.
Man's story in the skies.
The Hindenburg, both world wars.
Yeah.
Amelia Earhart, that's quite funny.
2 world wars.
2 world wars.
Flying.
2 girls, 1 cup. We'll see you next time for the more history of flights.
Bye.
To the skies.